How's it going, guys? Todd Hobson here, driver of the V84, Koolfreighters, Russell Steel V8 Dirt Modified. Haven't been on doing this for a while. Been a bit busy racing. It's about, I think I did 7 races in 6 weeks or something like that. It was a lot of work. We went Grafton, all the way up to Grafton, across to Mildura, Simpson twice, Avalon go-karts, and I think there was Warrnambool and Bairnsdale on the other end of the state. So a lot of travel in the last month and a half, so nearly 2 months. So picking up where I left off, not too different topic today compared to, in comparison to the rest of what the car is. So today, just going to go over what our engine is. Basically, I've winterized it, so just for the moment, because we're not racing for 2 months. Winterized it. I'll go through what I use for that and compare this open motor to, say, a crate motor, or 358 in America. I don't 100% know the 358 rules, but I know ours is a bit more open, I think. So, yeah. Alright, here she is, the Donk. This is a naturally aspirated small block Chev, 361 cubic inches. Steel block, steel heads, that's basically our rules, and we're limited with a compression ratio of... You've stumped me, I don't know what it is, but all I know is we run flat top pistons to compensate. This motor is interestingly a old Max Dumsey NASCAR motor. So from the Thunderdome days back in the early 90s. Once again, I couldn't tell you when that was, because that was before my time, and I actually wish I was sort of in that time some days, because that looked pretty cool just to be a part of it. So these motors are carbureted. As you can see, I've got a 4-barrel carb on there. This thing's a responsive angry monster, I think. I think it's great, this carburetors, and it's very tunable, the wheelies. When we go up north, and especially like Sydney, so well, not Sydney anymore unfortunately, but Lismore, Grafton, Archerfield, you need it's different air up there, so you need to compensate with your fuel mixtures. We actually got caught out a few times at Archerfield. We got caught out at Archerfield in the 44 lapper there. We ran out of smidge lean, and yeah, it got really hot. It got really, really hot. I'm not even gonna say the number because a lot of you think I'm stupid for keeping on going, but yeah, that's what it is. We'll go to the front of the motor now. Basically, alternator, which a lot of people in dirt mods don't run, but we love our alternator. We don't really have any battery troubles, but we have to charge ours sometimes, especially when they're sitting around, but we never have really trouble before race night. 2 power steering and fuel pump we got there. So your high pressure, that's your fuel in line for your fuel. High pressure line, low pressure's on the opposite side, which is coming from the reservoir. Next, big radiator. We have to have these big fans on them because if I come around the front here, they've got these big wings and there's nothing for really air to go through. So fan basically pulls all the air in them from wherever it needs to and gets in the big radiator. We don't need a scoop, at least like a sprint car, so just because of that big air dam basically on the front. So another neat thing with these motors, dry sump. So take about, I think, 8 litres of oil, but we usually put 7 litres of oil in, plus a litre of heavy duty stabiliser, which Lucas Oil make. Oil we use, which we've never ever had an issue with, is the Racing 50 Plus oil that Lucas Oil make. Just the natural zinc oil, nothing synthetic. Used it for, I want to say, I reckon I've used it since about 14 years nearly. I've coming up 14 years in this engine, and we've been using the 2050, which is over there, ironically, next to all the stock up in the thing. We've used the 2050 in our winglesses for 7 years, and we've never ever had a motor blow up, not even close. So I want to stress that enough, because I'm not just saying that because we're sponsored by Andy at Pearce Performance. I want to say that just because, legit, we never... Like, I think after 50 shows, our engine builder says our home marks are still on our bores. So that's in the wingless. And this thing does about, we only just had a rebuild this year. I think we counted about 43, 44 nights on it. And we just literally probably could have got a few more out of them, but we decided just to get it done while we had the time during COVID. All those lockdowns and stuff. It was a perfect time to do it. So no pressure for Louie. at Dandy Engines, does a fantastic job of our motors. He does. This thing's mellow compared to some of the projects they got down there, that's for sure. Great facility there in Curram Downs. We'll go down the back of the engine now. So that's our magneto or dizzy, whatever you want to call it. Bit of spark for you. And our spark box for all our, well, technically that is a magneto and that's a spark box for timing, so that's not a distributor. But yeah, that's basically all it is. Pretty simple, very simple. I'm not sure whether you call it a Magbox or a spark box because these are battery operated, not basically made off the spark of the motor there, of like how a magneto works. So it's probably just a distributor. Someone likes to fill me in. I get a bit confused with that, and I'm not ashamed of it. So also again, I forgot to mention with the fuel, these are, there goes some fuel in there, methanol motors, so burn nice and cool. But yeah, I would start it up for everyone, but I've just not necessarily winterized it. I've just WD-40'd the bores and all the manifold and stuff. I just basically spray some of our, I think I said WD-40, but I just say that as slang. The Lucas Oil penetrating oil. So that's basically Lucas Oil's WD-40, but I think it's just a tick better. I use that basically on everything myself, so with the cleaning, lubricating, all that, but just took the plugs out and got straight in all the bores and everywhere else, which is good. And the valve train, hopefully a little bit in there at least. So yeah, back on the dry sump. This is a pretty cool option. We got a little cutout, a custom tank for our dry sump tank. And there's our oil pump. So I think we call that a 4-stage. It's four outlets on it. Gets a lot of oil around the motor, I'm guessing. And we got a remote oil filter that mounts off the chassis. A lot easier to change than probably getting under and all that. I just do that from the side every meeting. Oops, I have my hand in the way. Yeah, I basically do that from the side of the car every meeting, which is cool. It's not like getting under it and getting covered in oil and all that. So just quickly go over the exhaust. Bit different to a sprint car header style. As you can see, they get absolutely blasted. I've tried to clean them as best as I can, but honestly, number one, it's very hard to clean, to keep them clean. And I don't know how old these are. These were pretty ordinary, I think, when we got them. I don't remember. So unfortunately, we got the big the motor condoms on them. I'm going to call them that as a bit of a joke. The big suitcase mufflers, basically like tracks, you have to mandate them. So, which is a bit disappointing, but that's just because, honestly, a lot of people wouldn't know any different here, but just because when you see open headers in America, you think, wow, that's something cool. But then you hear here and they're pretty muffled and quiet. But that's just how it is. Happy racing. That's basically all we need to be thankful for nowadays. We nearly got it all taken away from us. So, yeah. Can't think of anything else with more with this. So, if anyone has any questions, let me know. I'll answer them. Now, you've seen basically what an open motor is, which is this thing back here. It's open, except the displacement, carb, or naturally aspirated. But I think it's just carbureted. I think it has to be. I haven't looked at the rules in depth. I've just assumed carbureted because everyone's got carbureted cars. So, yeah, so displacement, carb, and compression ratio. The rest is open. Steel block, steel heads, another rule. That's our open motors. So I think in America, the 358's a limited small block motor that I think you can only get 500 or 600 out of. These are about 650-ish, what we're about at. Mostly torque though, so I keep the torque to myself. Big blocks, obviously, I think they're 527s or something. You'll have to correct me. I'm bad. I don't know a lot about American dirt mod racing. But what else we have here in Australia is a crate class called sportsman's. So you probably see a bit of a takeoff difference on starts, especially. This has sort of not bit me a few times, but you just have to be conservative if you're starting around. The crates, they consist of a 602 crate motor. You can just buy them off the shelf, ready to go, bolt them in, seal them up. I think they're rev limited to about 6.5 or 7,000 revs. I'm just trying to, I think they're about 450 to 500 horsepower still, so not a bad thing. I think they're about 450. But yeah, they're just as even with the big tyres, they're just as even on a slick track. So I think it was Grafton over New Year's, and the top 4 points were the only, there were sportsmen's and opens there. There was about, would have been a third sportsmen's, 2/3 opens. And the sportsmen smoked us in the heats, the first 2 heats, and then they inverted the full thing, and then they sort of got screwed. But that's just how it works. Yeah, that's all I can think about with motor rules. If anyone else wants to know any more about dirt mods, just comment. I'm happy to show you around the car. There's no secrets here. You got to do a lot of development to sort of keep up with what we're doing, I guess. I've spent a lot of time on this car, so yeah. Hope you enjoy it, and I'll put this together, hopefully shorten it, and enjoy.